गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा
विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा
तव शुभ नामे जागे
तव शुभ आशीष मागे
गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
The world is witnessing the peak of Indian cricket in this competitive era. You must have something extraordinary in yourself to be at the top 11 from the count of millions. Our guest today has shown some spectacular consistency throughout his journey with cricket and has left no stone unturned to showcase his excellent skills. We want to extend a warm welcome to the local boy of our city, Pune, and the opener of the Indian cricket team, as well as of one of the most successful franchise, Chennai Super Kings, in the Indian Premier League. A right hand batsman with the right approach and technique is now ready to hit his best form. Debuting for India last month against the Lankans, he's already established his supremacy in the game. If you haven't already guessed his name, which I'm pretty sure you have, it's none other than the rising star of the Indian cricket team, Ruturaj Gaikwad. We would like to invite him to celebrate the 75th Independence Day with us and answer a few of our questions. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Such a lovely occasion to be on, chatting with you guys, and being the guest of our Independence Day. So really looking forward to it.
The first question that I would like to ask you, I know this might sound really cliche, but we still want
Yeah.
to know what is the story behind your love for cricket?
I think it is. I think it's natural to me because as far as I remember, and as far as my parents remember, at very small age, the first sport which I preferred was cricket. I was just holding a bat or playing bat and ball, and that was the only sport which I was playing. So I guess I developed the love for this game at that age when I was, I think, even 2 or 3 year old. So I think thanks to my parents, they didn't give me a doubt about thinking about anything else, or encouraging me to do something else. But they have been really supportive in this journey, and I think this is how the love for this game has been developed.
This is great. So moving on to the to our next question, who inspired you to take up cricket as a kid, and
Yeah.
who do you look up to currently? So professionally and personally, maybe.
Uh, I think I didn't got inspired by anyone, but to be honest, when I really got to know about cricket, learned few things, when I was a 12-year-old or something around that age, at that time, obviously Sachin Tendulkar was the one who everyone look up to. So obviously, and in when I guess I was 13 or 14 at that time, we had won the 2011 World Cup. So obviously it was highly encouraging for me and very motivating for me, to one day represent India, or chase my dream to represent India. And I think obviously from that time, many number of players have come in and went, they have made their names. But I think, there are few to be named, but not really one person as such. Obviously, there is Virat Kohli, or there is Rohit Sharma, and, Kane Williamson from other countries also there. So there are many players, but, uh, not, I mean, inspiring is the only thing is to, represent the country in whatever way I can, or in whichever way I can. I think that is the most inspirational thing for me, and the most motivational thing for me.
That is so beautiful. So,
Yeah.
as you mentioned before, that your family was very supportive about your choice of career. So, would you like to describe how that conversation went, or how that went around with your family? The whole talk about choosing cricket as a career.
I think. as far as I remember, there was no such conversation that, I want to pursue my career in cricket or, leave studies behind. As far as I remember, all uh, till my until my 10th standard or 8th grade, I was having both. I was playing cricket and, was good in studies as well. Always used to be there high up in the rankings, even in the studies as well. So at the point where, I had missed my school due to one cricketing tournament, and you know the school principal got really angry on me, and then he was about to uh, he met my parents, he called my parents, and he even called me later. So he came up to a conclusion that I have to either I have to continue school or I have to leave cricket. So I think it was a very straightforward decision for me. I told my parents that I cannot leave cricket no matter what. So I think that gave them the direction that I have to make my career in cricket, and so there was no such conversation. But after that, I changed my school, and everything I gave for cricket. More number of hours. I used to miss a lot of school days. Even if it was early morning, I used to get up to go to school, and then I used to say I don't want to go and really want to go for practice or have to go here and there. So I think there was no such negative vibe from them any day, even up till now, from that day or from my childhood. So I think they have been really supportive, and I'm very thankful to them. And in each and every be it success or be it failure, even if I've got out early in a match, or I've scored 100 or have a good match, the atmosphere at my home is same, be it a failure or be it a success. So I think that is very kind for me, and I'm really thankful for them.
That is so sweet because usually Indian parents are more like uh,
Yeah.
career kar lo pehle kind of. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think I'm really lucky in that sense. But as I said, this wouldn't have been possible without their support. So yeah, more credit goes to them.
So beautiful. So, moving on to your journey through cricket, what was your reaction after joining the CSK campaign? Like,
My reaction was I was very surprised because I think I was hoping to get picked by one or two other teams, but was not hoping to get picked by CSK at all. So very surprised, very hard to sink in, and I still, it was hard to believe that I was able to join a franchise with such huge names and legendary cricketers who have played the game for so long, and dominated international cricket. And obviously, there are not one name or two name or three names. There are almost 10 to 15 names. So to be able, and I think most of them are my childhood heroes. So, to be able to get into them, share the dressing room with them, and, uh, thinking that someday I might be playing with them. So it all gave me goosebumps, and then slowly it took time to believe that, I'm there in the CSK team and all. So yeah.
that's so sweet. So, obviously, like, there must have been immense pressure on you while you were debuting for India. So, we've heard
Yeah.
all about it, but how did you handle the pressure?
Uh, I think not only for India, but I think playing cricket in this country, in our country, every game where everyone is watching, be it IPL or be it for India, every game is a pressure game because everybody is watching, everybody is hoping that you do well, or you should score runs, or you should take wickets. So every game is a pressure game. But I think by now we have used to that pressure, and it kind of if you look other way around, it is a great opportunity if you see it other way, that everyone is hoping for you, everyone is eagerly waiting for your performance, and if you perform, everybody is watching you. So you take it as a challenge rather than thinking of a lot of other stuff. And I think handling pressure is as I said, I've been lucky to be in a franchise where, no better person than MS Dhoni can, tell you about handling pressure. So I've learned a lot of things from him, and thankfully it had been in the right way. and it is helping me in a right way. So, staying calm and, focusing just on cricket and not on other things and being in your headspace really helped me.
So, what was your experience as a debutant going for playing international cricket? Like, how was the whole experience?
Experience was amazing. I remember it was we were batting first, and I was wearing the blue jersey, and finally going on to bat for Indian team, representing the Indian team. So there were nerves and there were happiness, and uh, kind of relief that what kind of hard work you have went through, or all the situations that you have went through right from the day you've been thinking of or dreaming of playing cricket and wearing that blue jersey. So all the things go into your mind, but as I said, once you step into the field, you have to just uh, keep all the things aside and just focus on playing ball or focus on what is next. So I think yes, nerves were there. The feeling was totally different. And obviously when I came back to my room, I was very happy that even though we lost that game and I couldn't contribute much, but it kind of had you have that emotion that not only for yourself but for all the people who have help help you in this throughout the journey, be it friends or be it number of coaches or family, or yeah.
So, were there like any transitions that you noticed in your game from when you played domestic to when you started, now that you've started playing international?
Um, I think the skill set is the same, but I think the difference in domestic and international or even in IPL, what I find is, people are or players are mentally strong, and the opposition is actually a bit ahead of you. So I think the skill set is same. All on the same level. It's just that who is more mentally stronger or who is more mentally aware, wins the game over you. So it's more on one-on-one battle, and like batsman versus bowler. So if you're one step ahead of your bowler or one step ahead of your batsman, it makes your job easy. So I think it's more on the mental thing, how you prepare, how you set up your routines, and how mentally fresh you are or how mentally in a good space you are. So instead of I think the skill set, I find this thing difference between the domestic and the international circuit.
So, like you mentioned, that you have had a lot of dressing room moments in your
Yeah.
journey right now. So, what's like one of your favorite dressing room moments that you vividly remember and would like to share?
I think there are many. Even now, I be in the dressing room. Uh, sometimes I remember last year when I was about to play my first IPL game. It was in Dubai, and right from that moment, we were playing the Dubai phase of IPL. So every ground, I was sitting next to MS Dhoni. So I think every moment, I had to pinch myself, or I used to see him, okay, he's really MS Dhoni, or what he's doing, or what kind of routine he has, or what what thinking he goes through, or how he is mentally. So I think every day, even right now, I'm very excited to be back, and excited to see him again and again. Not only him, there's Suresh Raina as well, there's Sambati Raidu as well. So there are two, three players. So every time, I'm being realized that I'm having MS Dhoni or I'm having Suresh Raina besides me. So it kind of every day is an amazing day, and every day I feel really relieved to be able to share the dressing room with them. Not most of them got the chance or get the chance because obviously the age difference is there. He's 15 years, 15 to 16 years older than me. So really lucky to be able to spend each and every day besides him.
That was actually a follow-up question. Like,
Yeah,
so many people in this country look up to MS Dhoni or Virat Kohli, so many other cricketers.
yeah,
So we wanted to ask you what your experience was, but I think you talked about that. But anything as a specific moment that you'd like to tell us?
Specific moment, I think I picked up a lot of things from MS Dhoni, uh, be it about the game or be it about life, how he goes about life or, how he takes things very calmly. I think he's very positive. He's always in a positive frame of mind and he's always in the present tense, no matter what. And I think it shows, being such a big player and, legend of the game, but no ego at all, or be it any person, the conversation is same, and the communication is same. Even if you ask one or two questions, uh, be it whatever, be it he's tired or he's not in a good space, he's always come out of that personal thing, and he'll come up to you and talk to you for more than 5 or 10 minutes. So I think that is one of the things where I've really picked up from him, that no matter what you play, just to stay grounded.
That is so sweet. So,
Yeah.
is there any advice that you'd like to give our young players or cricketers who are willing to pursue cricket as a career? Because it's such a popular game and it's loved by everybody so much.
I think the only advice I would give is I can see a lot of young kids or young players or everyone taking cricket and thinking that okay, uh, I can play IPL or I can play for international cricket or whatever it is. But I think I would say it requires a lot of hard work and a lot of determination, a lot of sacrifices through it, and it's not easy that you get up and you think you are working hard in the gym and you're doing a fitness or you're practicing for 10 hours or 8 hours in a day and you'll be able to play India very soon. But it's not like that. The reality is, it's not about what quantity or what volume of hard work you're doing. It's about what quality of hard work you're doing. May it be for 1 hour or 2 hours. Not necessary you hit the gym for 2 3 hours, or not necessary you practice for 4 to 5 hours. But the quality has to be there in both the departments, and the time has to be given. There has to be made some sacrifices. Like there might be some period where you have to choose either a cricket practice session or a study classroom or a college lecture or a friend's birthday party or whatever it is. So if you really want to pursue your career in cricket, you always have to choose cricket. So it is about making a lot of sacrifices, but obviously it's about spending some time doing quality hard work as well. So I think this is what Dhoni also precise on. He always says that the process is important, and no matter what, you need to go ahead of the game. You have to stick to your basics. You have to be humble. You have to be honest with your game, and more importantly, you have to be honest with yourself, because there are a lot of people where a lot of players, I see around that fool around with coaches, like tell them that I had 2 or 3 days practice sessions rather than they were somewhere else, and so it's not going to help you. uh, at the end of the day, your coach is not the one who will be able to play cricket or will be able to play for India. So it's at the end of the day how honest you are with yourselves and your hard work, so that will really help you out.
I think that's all the questions we had. It was so wonderful
Yeah.
getting to know you. So, on behalf of EPC VIT Pune, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Mr. Ruturaj Gaikwad, our guest of honor, for his remarkable presence and all the inspiring words he had to share with us today. I'm pretty sure that everybody has gained some useful insights. And thank you so much, sir, once again.
Thank you so much. It was a lovely chat. Loved the way you had your questions, and loved my time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
और मोह तू रंग दे बसंती यारा मोह तू रंग दे बसंती रुकने वाली धक 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 सांसें, जिनमें हो जुनू जुनू वो बूंदें लाल लहू की, ये सब तू मिला मिला ले, फिर रंग तू खिला खिला ले, ये सब तू मिला मिला ले, फिर रंग तू खिला खिला ले, और मोहे रंग दे बसंती, रंग दे बसंती, रंग दे बसंती यार।
ऐ मेरी ज़मीं अफसोस नहीं जो तेरे लिए 100 दर्द सहे, महफूज रहे तेरी आन सदा, चाहे जान मेरी ये रहे ना रहे। आ मेरी ज़मीं महबूब मेरी, मेरी नस नस में तेरा इश्क बहे, फीका ना पड़े कभी रंग तेरा, जिस्मों से निकल के खून कहे। तेरी मिट्टी में मिल जावा गुल बन के मैं खिल जावा, इतनी सी है दिल की आरज़ू।
ऐनक पहने लाठी पकड़े चलते थे वो शान से, जालिम कांपे थर 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 सुनकर उनका नाम रे। हो कद था उनका छोटा सा और सरपट उनकी चाल रे, दुबले से पतले से थे वो चलते सीना तान के। वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम,
वंदे
मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम, वंदे मातरम।
वक्त आ गया है खून का बदला खून से लेने का। मदोस, इंडियन आर्मी ने ये जंग शुरू नहीं की थी, बट वी विल ब्लडी हेल फिनिश इट। हाउस द जोश, हाउस द जोश, जय हिंद, जय हिंद। मैं लड़ जाना है लहू में एक चिंगारी, सिर से जुनू तक है जाना हर कतरा मोल रहा। अल्लाह फिरते बन के कफन जब तुरिया, तन के मौत नू बचा, मारे में थर थर डूबते सारे। अल्लाह दम है तो कोई रोक ले, सूरज से ऊंचे हौसले, साथ मिलकर जो हम चले, किस्मत से किस्मत चुराने।
दुनिया से हमको क्या ले जाना, यारों के दिल में हो ठिकाना, तो दिल से यार हमें ले पुकार तो जान सार कर डाले। कहते हैं हमको प्यार से प्यार से प्यार से, कहते हैं हमको प्यार से इंडिया वाले, छू लेते दिल के तार से इंडिया वाले, हर जीत छीन ले हार से इंडिया वाले, दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे, उंगली पे सबको नचा दे, दुश्मन के छक्के छुड़ा दे हम इंडिया वाले।
On this auspicious occasion of 75th Independence Day, it is my pleasure and an honor to introduce our today's guest, Krishnaraj Mahadik. Before we proceed to interacting with our guest, I would like to give a brief background about Krishnaraj. Krishnaraj Mahadik is a 23-year-old athlete, a social worker, and an entrepreneur from Kolhapur. 19 years ago, Narayan Karthikeyan was the only Indian who was a part of and won the British Racing Drivers Club BRDC Formula 3 Championship. He continued to maintain the legacy until a 19-year-old from Kolhapur managed to steal the show. In 2012, he won the National Go-Karting Championship, and this led to an entry in the Rotomax World Grand Finals held in Portugal, which he won not only once but twice in a row. Balancing his passion for racing with studies, he debuted in motor racing in 2014 in the JK Tyre National Racing Championship.
he became the second Indian to win the British Racing Drivers Club Formula 3 Championship, one of the most prestigious motor racing championships in the world. This year has not only reminded us about our passion for sports, but also the sacrifice it takes to achieve greatness. With our theme for this year in mind, Rise of India, Youth in Sports, please welcome Krishnaraj Mahadik. Hello, Krishnaraj.
Hi.
So, firstly, I would like to thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
No, thank you so much for inviting.
Yeah. So, Krishnaraj, when was the first time you realized your interest in racing?
Well, it was actually when I was pretty young, because I actually had a uh, where my family background was very much into sports, and my dad and my mom always encouraged us to get into sports. And it all started when literally I was four years old, when it started with wrestling actually, because my dad used to be a wrestling and a boxing champion. But that really was a sport that interests me a lot. So they gave me the freedom to choose a sport and test and try out. So there are actually a lot of different sports that I played before I got into racing. And then I think at 8 years old, I got introduced to go-karting, because there was a track built here locally in Kolhapur. So yeah, when I saw that for the first time, I really liked it, because I was always fascinated by cars as well at a very young age. And then when I did go there, someone over there actually offered me if I want to just go and drive a kart for fun, and I did that, and I really fell in love with the sport itself. So that's really how it started.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So, as you mentioned that your father was a national champion in boxing and wrestling, while
Yes.
your mother was a national level basketball player. So, what made you choose racing over these other sports? As you like mentioned right now that you have been playing a lot of sports.
Yes. So, like I said, like it was always important in the family for me to choose at least one sport and do it alongside my academics. So before I did racing, there's actually, I guess, football, skating, swimming, hockey, and there's actually a lot of other sports that I played. In fact, even football I played at state level. But racing really had some other kind of attraction for me, and that's really the sport that, um, it just appeals me a lot more than any other sport. And even though I experienced so many other sports, this really was the kind of sport that really used to drive me, and I really felt passionate about. So yeah, like I said, sports was always important. I had to pick one, so I did go with racing.
Right. That's great. So, could you share with us a racetrack moment that completely changed your life?
Yes, there was. This was actually in 2017, when I was in England and I was driving the British Formula 3 Championship. And so there's this funny thing where I actually never let any of my family members come to any of my races. But that was the one race where my brothers and my mom actually came all the way to England to surprise me on that particular race. And I won that race, and I became the first ever Indian to do so. So that moment just could not be any more special, because it was a big moment for the country, as well as it was the first time that that my mom and my brothers actually came to watch a race as well. So it was perfect timing, and that definitely was a moment that completely changed my life, because from that moment onwards, I just felt so motivated to keep doing this more and more. And it was everyone, like there were so many blessings, and people showed so much love that I feel really inspired to uh, do that.
That's amazing. So that brings me to my next question. As you mentioned, so like Krishna, one of the biggest achievements that you've had in your racing career is that you're the second Indian to win the BRDC Formula 3. So how does it feel? What was the reaction of your family and friends back then, since they were there to watch it?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. Like I never expected, because nobody really expected me to win that race. Because when I was trying that race, I was actually starting eighth, and it's pretty hard to overtake so many people in one race and win the race. But yeah, it was pretty amazing experience. And even when I came back, I actually had pretty much the entire city welcoming me when I was entering Kolhapur. There were so many businessmen, politicians, so many VIP people who actually came there to greet me, and it was a pretty special feeling, because there were so many people who, sports persons as well, who came to meet me and just wanted to hear my story of how it all happened. So yeah, it went pretty well, and the love they showed me was exactly what inspired me so much.
So I'll go to my next question.
Sure.
Yeah. So, performing laps one after another, the cockpit may feel like a time machine, and you might feel you are in a time lapse. So, how do you maintain your level of concentration in such cases? Since we are talking about this entire
Yes.
overtaking and everything.
So what you're saying is actually not that false, because when you are practicing, you actually do tend to just, because you're on the same circuit running the same laps all the time, you do tend to just get lost sometimes. That definitely does not happen when you're racing, because like I said, you're obviously competing against each other. But when you're practicing, it's all about focusing on how you can give your best on each lap and deliver the best times on each lap as well. Because you're obviously driving so many laps on the same circuit on the same corners, so sometimes it's true that uh, I actually experienced this early on when I used to go kart. You know, as a kid, it's hard to focus and it's very easy to get distracted. So when I used to go through corners, I actually used to feel bored sometimes, and you know, I didn't used to push myself that hard. But when you're racing internationally, obviously that doesn't happen. Even when you're practicing, all you're focused on is just giving better times and how you can keep on improving on each lap.
Right.
And because when you're doing this on different circuits all around the world, and you get very less time to practice on one particular circuit, so you just really have to focus on how you can make the most out of it each and every lap, because there's always room for improvement when it comes to racing, because of the circuit, because of the car, because there's obviously changes you can make on the car, that which is going to make you go faster at some point. So yeah, you just have to keep pushing, and yeah, being focused for that is really really important.
Right. So, Krishnaj, a lot of us here are very inquisitive to know that what goes into the preparation of a race. Is there any specific ritual you follow before a race?
So there is actually quite a lot of things. So before a race, obviously, just like to give you a little bit of context on how I used to prepare for the race. So when I was in India, it was actually completely different, and I won a lot of races here. But when I went internationally, uh, the way I saw other drivers used to prepare was a very different way from mine. I never really understood why it is important to eat healthy food. You know, I remember races over here where I literally used to eat butter chicken before I got into a race car, which is not the thing you do at all in any sport. But yeah, when I went internationally, there are so many things that I learned from my teammates and other drivers, because like I said, these are champions from all over Europe who come and compete against each other. So the level of preparation that goes into their diet and their physical capability as well is actually a lot. Like they train really, really hard. So when I'm not racing, I actually spend 4 hours a day in the gym. And that's, to be honest, that's what every other driver does as well. And talking about a specific ritual, I don't necessarily have a ritual as such, but I tend to not to speak to anyone, because I just used to feel so nervous before every race. I never used to talk to any family members or friends at all. I used to switch off my phone a week before the race. And before I got on the circuit, I used to do this imaginary laps in my head. So I just literally used to sit down in a corner and imagine a steering wheel in front of me and pedals in my foot, and just drive through the circuit that I was going to go to. So that's something I used to do. But yeah, that's pretty much all, to be honest.
Okay, that's really great. So, as we're seeing recently, many of the sports persons around the world are talking about their mental health. So, Krishnaj, I would like to ask you, how do you cope with the mental pressure faced during the races?
It is, like I said earlier, it is something you have to develop over time, because when you keep experiencing the pressure, that's exactly how your brain really trains itself to handle the pressure. It really does get hard sometimes, especially when you're just starting. It definitely is hard, but you have to do all the right things before you actually are playing the sport as well, like eating properly, training in the gym as well. I used to meditate a lot also, and that really used to help my mind focus. But yeah, doing these small things together actually made a big difference when you're actually competing in the sport. But to be honest, like doing that, it's just something that happens over a period of time. You're never gonna find you're gonna be no sports person is ever gonna be able to find how to be mentally stable, or mentally fit for any particular sport within a night. It's just something that you have to keep on training for a long period, and just it's just going to come to you.
Right. So this entire changing your diet, starting to gym, etc., all these things have actually helped you, right?
Oh, absolutely, massively. And that's what I feel sad about. Like when I was here in India, I actually never had that realization, or nobody was here to teach me why it is necessary. It only happened until I went internationally, and just imagine the amount of time that I might have wasted over here training like that, which is ridiculous. Because when I went there, I actually went to a completely different level and saw a whole new world as to how different drivers used to prepare. And when I started doing that, it actually helped me massively.
Indeed. So while you are training over here, so all the training that you got in India, how was it like? Like, were you training under somebody or you did everything on your own?
So, uh, unfortunately, racing is does not get the recognition that it deserves over here in India. I wouldn't say there's anyone to be blamed here. There might be, but it's also a very expensive sport. And when I was doing that, yes, I did have coach over here, but the coach that I was training under only knew everything that was going on here in India. He never knew what really was how the drivers or races you need to be prepared for internationally, because he was Indian and he used to be here and never saw what used to happen internationally. He wouldn't obviously be able to give me that knowledge either. So it was only time that took me there and made me realize how important it is to particularly do everything in this way.
Right, right. Also, I've heard this thing while the racers are actually racing, they tend to lose weight. Is it true? Like,
Yeah, it is true. There was this one weekend where on Friday morning I was 62 kilos. So how a race weekend works is basically Friday you get practice, Saturday there's qualifying, and Sunday you race. So Friday morning I was 62 kilos, and by Sunday evening I was 57. So I actually lost 5 kilos within 3 days. And when it comes to Formula One, they actually lose up to 3 kilos literally in one day, which is one race. So yeah, that it is pretty true actually.
yeah, right. So, Krishnaj, I want to ask you, like, India has won 7 medals in Olympics this year. So, how do you think we can motivate more and more students or the youth to take up sports as their career?
No, absolutely. It's pretty good to see India achieving so many medals. And yeah, I have to say that the government actually has done a really good job as well, because they've been promoting sports massively here now. They've allocated a lot of budget towards sports, and that's I really wish I had that when I was racing at a very young age. But it's great. I would praise a lot of youngsters to get into sports, because this really could be their career at some point. But all that you need to do right now is really work hard and choose your path in which particular sport and what you really want to achieve. Because you even see the people who won Olympics, when they come back to India, they actually get praised a lot, and there's a lot of things that they actually get from the government as well. And these people sometimes, these sports persons sometimes come from very poor families, so it is massively helpful for them as well. But yeah, absolutely would encourage a lot of youth to get into sports, because sports really teaches you values that you're not going to learn from academics or anything else. It's just experiencing everything, and it gives you discipline, gives you sportsmanship, and there's a lot of other values that you learn from sports and you're not going to get it from anywhere else. So yeah, absolutely.
Right, that's very true indeed. So, lastly, Krishnaraj, any thoughts you would like to share with our students?
I mean, if you talk about sports particularly, or even generally in life, you obviously all of must have heard about the quote, hard work is the key to success. It is true. It really is true. You really have to work hard for anything that you want to achieve in life. And that's something I've understood through my experience. And at the same time, you have to be patient to get to where you want to, and be consistent. You cannot, if you're put down by someone or something, you cannot feel demotivated. You have to find some way to keep yourself motivated all the time, because that's really what's going to help you to keep yourself pushing. You have to keep yourself pushing, because there's no one else who's going to do it for you. So yeah, that's definitely a message that I'd like to give to everyone. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much, Krishnaraj, for your time.
Thank you so much for inviting. I really appreciated.
So on the behalf of EPC VIT Pune, I extend my heartfelt thanks to Krishnaraj Mahadik, guest of honor, for his remarkable presence and all the inspiring words that he has shared with us today. I'm sure all of us here have gained some useful insights. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much.
काय ऑलिम्पिक्सला जायचंय, टेबल टेनिसमध्ये करिअर.
अरे मी काय म्हणते, एखादा गव्हर्नमेंट जॉबच बघ ना. जास्त धावपळ पण नसते अरे त्याच्यात. तो संकेत नाहीये का करतोय ना UPSC ची तयारी, तसंच काहीसं कर ना तू पण.
ऑलिम्पिक गोल्ड मेडल, अरे काही वेळा झाला तू.
अरे हे गेम वगैरे खेळण्याची काही गरज आहे का? आणि त्याचा पुढे काही उपयोग तरी आहे का?
नाही, या फील्डमध्ये जायची काही एक गरज नाही. अरे इथे काही गॅरंटी नसते.
अरे भाई, स्टेट लेवल जिंकला म्हणजे काय काही स्वप्न बघतो का? तू याचा नाद सोड. क्रिकेट आहे का कुठे हे एवढं सिरियस घ्यायला?
हे बघ, आमचं काम आहे तुला सांगणं. बाकी तुझं तू बघ, पण पुढे काही आडलं तर आमच्याकडे येऊ नकोस परत.
टाइमपास म्हणून खेळणं आणि फुल टाइम खेळणं यात प्रचंड फरक असतो.
Hello, Gaurav, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you there?
Yes, maybe there was a technical issue.
Okay, so the question is, where do you see yourself in the coming 5 years?
In 5 years. In 5 years as a software engineer at this company, my goal is to be a manager or a team leader. Also, I want to collaborate with these different developers in future. As I told you, I'm so interested in software development.
Hello everyone. You must have heard about the sporting extravaganza known as the Winter Olympics. But still, isn't it surprising that sports like ice skating, ice hockey, or curling are not known to the masses? So, what is it like to choose an unconventional career field? Let us find out from our guest speaker, who just didn't play the sport but also established milestones in speed skating as well as ice skating by breaking the national record and winning 5 gold medals in Indian National Ice Skating Championship and a bronze medal in the National Winter Games. Please welcome the Queen of India on Ice, Mrs. Shruti Kotwal, ma'am. Ma'am, we are so pleased to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here, and I'm excited for this interview. Thank you for this
Yes,
lovely
ma'am.
introduction.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so ma'am, my first question to you is, what inspired you to take up this particular sport, and who has been your biggest supporter throughout your entire journey?
So I've been a roller skater all my life, and roller skating is very common in India. I'm born and brought up in Pune. So I used to go to the local club in Pune for roller skating as a child, and it was a hobby that slowly turned into passion. I did a lot of nationals in roller skating, and then I felt like I needed to explore more. And ice skating is in the Winter Olympics or is in the Olympics, while roller skating is not an Olympic sport. So that is what encouraged me to take up another sport. And also, I always thought ice skating was more graceful, and we didn't have the infrastructure for ice skating, so that is what kept me away from it for all these years. But eventually I found my way into it, and that's how I got into ice skating.
So what does your training look like in general? Like, how do you prepare for your events then?
um so here I'm right now in Salt Lake City, USA, and we train twice a day for 5 to 6 days of the week. So the training is really intense. We are training almost, I want to say, 5 to 6 hours a day. So it depends on what you're training for. I'm a pure sprinter, so my focus is the 500 meters. It requires a lot of explosivity, but at the same time, it also needs a lot of power and obviously the basic fitness. So we do a lot of cycling, we do a lot of weightlifting, we also do some running, and of course, a lot of plyometrics, agility training, and I mean, obviously, we skate every single day. So our training is a little bit of everything. Everything together combined, it's a lot. So even though I'm a sprinter and my race gets over under a minute, but I have to train a lot to be able to be fast at that race.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed, your hard work you can see it in the results. It's amazing. Okay, so my next question to you is, ma'am, how has the quarantine affected you as a skater? Like, how have you been using your time, like, in ice skating during this quarantine?
So I was in India, back in my hometown Pune, the entire COVID period in quarantine. So I didn't get to train, obviously, on ice. I was trying to do whatever I could with whatever we had, but I came back to the States couple months ago, and it was really hard for me to get back on ice, because even if you're trying to stay fit and you're trying to do everything, it's really difficult when you come back on ice, because I'm competing with people that have been skating all their lives, and I'm not getting that kind of training, or I'm not able to get that since my childhood. Also, COVID was like another big break in my training. I didn't skate for almost more than a year, and getting the ice back and trying to skate again after such a long period was really hard. But now that I'm back, it feels good, and we'll see what happens.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, so you mentioned about your competitors. Like, what sets you apart from your fellow competitors? What is your mantra, as in when you are competing? What do you keep in mind?
I think my biggest advantage is that my driving force is my own story, that I'm the first Indian in the sport. So that is a huge motivation. And I want to set a really good benchmark for India or Indian skaters to follow. That you can really achieve something in an unconventional sport too, because this is a serious sport. This is an Olympic sport. I just want to, like, that is my driving force that sets me apart. I think it's my story and my passion for the sport.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, could you please shed a light upon your story which you mentioned, as in, like, from your childhood up till now?
That's a very long answer, but I'll try to keep it short. So it's been like a very normal childhood, like anybody else, growing up in India. I went to a very regular school, and I did everything that all the kids do. It's just that my parents were more open-minded towards sports. So I was put into a sport at a very young age. Except I was put into a sport just because my mother wanted me out of the house. I was a hyperactive child, and she was like, "Just go do something for 2 hours so that you are not going to be jumping around." And then that ended up being my. I first got interested in it, and then it ended up being my passion because I think I am someone who likes to keep improving. If I am really bad at something, then I don't like to give up. I actually like to keep working on it, and I like to make that as my challenge. Of course, when you start, we're not all born winners. At least I wasn't, and I had to work every single step of the way. I think I have lost way more than I have won. All my childhood was very difficult trying to, get the hang of skating and learn the technique and everything. But when I was in my ninth standard, I won a gold at the nationals after struggling for so long, and that was my turning point. I think that made me feel like yes, if you keep trying and if you keep practicing, good things happen. Because I was going to the nationals for so many years, and I would come back. I would lose every national, and I would come back and I would be upset about it, and I would think like, okay, I'm done with skating. But in my mind, I would always tell myself that no, I'm going to go back. I'm going to work harder again the entire year. I'm going to try again next year. And then once it comes to you, I don't think it can be taken away. So after that gold that I won at the nationals, after that there was no looking back. Then every year I had a really good national. Of course, you can't keep performing your best. When I shifted to ice skating, I picked it up very fast, and my nationals in Shimla used to go very well. I won every national in Shimla. I used to win gold medals there. Then I got selected to represent India, and then I went to Asian championships, and I represented India there as well. And that gave me this feeling that I want to keep doing this. I want to keep improving, and I want to keep India, on the world map, at least for speed skating. So that is what kept me going. I think failing kept me going in my life to do better and to give this an end and actually use it as a driving force. So coming from a very normal family, very normal schooling, to taking up science and not knowing what to do in life, to finally understanding the true meaning, and I was lucky to understand what my passion was, and obviously more lucky to have parents that supported this journey.
Yes, Ma'am, I agree that parental support is really important because I myself I used to play Kho in my school times, but my parents were not very supportive about it. So if they would have been, I would have gotten better exposure. So I do agree to that. Like parental support is really important.
I mean,
Ma'am,
parents
also,
were not super supportive. Also, it's very different how it works in India. So when I wasn't doing well, my mother used to tell me every single year that you have to stop if you don't win. You have to stop if you don't win. And that is not the right way to do it. But I think you have to keep fighting. You have to keep fighting for your passion. You have to be very confident. You have to work hard, and you have to prove it to them that, no, this is actually what I want. And you don't have to give in to the society and what they expect of you. So I think, of course, parents have to support you, but I think in the end, everybody supports you if you really prove it to them, and if you are just not ready to do anything else in life, then they have to give in.
yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you mentioned about representing our country for the first time at international platforms. Ma'am, representing our nation on such a platform must bring on like a lot of pressure on you. So, how did you basically handle this pressure? What was going through your mind when you did it for the first time?
Honestly, when we would first go for these international camps, we were more stunned than anything else because we had not seen an ice skating arena like that. And we had not seen skaters who skate so smooth and so gracefully ever in our lives before. Or we had not it was kind of a shock. Like, you get a culture shock when you go to another country. We were getting this sports shock by seeing these good quality athletes and these amazing facilities that they get to train in. So I think we were so overwhelmed by that and so intimidated by all these athletes that it was actually like a process. It wouldn't even sink in the beginning. And we knew that we were not good enough to compete with them because, like I already mentioned, we didn't get the training that they were getting. We didn't have the facilities, awareness. Nothing was there in those days. So I think, like I said, overwhelming was the biggest feeling that we all were going through. And of course, we were very proud because back home, everyone was very proud wearing the Indian jersey for the first time. I remember it was like, I mean, I didn't iron it because I thought that the print will come off, and I kept it really well because I was so proud of it. I still have my first one. So I think things like that, like it's a very emotional journey. But of course, you learn so much in your first time that the pressure is high, but there are so many different feelings that more than the pressure, I think all this coming together is more like overwhelming than the pressure. But right now, if you ask me, and then at this point, I feel the pressure way more because now I'm used to living abroad. I've been here for a few years. And now I know that everybody is, looking after my results and they're constantly checking how I'm doing and my timings and, what kind of races I have had. So now I feel the pressure more. In those times, I knew speed skating was not popular. People didn't know me. So I didn't feel the pressure that much. But right now I do.
Yes, indeed. Ma'am, you must be aware like women face too many responsibilities and day-to-day challenges in their daily life. So, did you face any of these challenges in this particular field? And if so, then how did you exactly tackle with them?
So I think women go through so much physiologically as well that we are so used to these changes, and as athletes, we don't even think anything different is happening to our bodies. We are so used to challenging ourselves every single day. And for me specifically, I lived abroad for so long. For me, that was like the biggest challenge, leaving home, leaving everybody, going alone, traveling everywhere, because I didn't have the Indian team like all the other athletes get. I've always been by myself because speed skating doesn't have a team, or they have a team, but I mean, it's not quality. Or I was the one who moved out for the sport to actually skate every single day because I knew if I wanted to make it big, or if I wanted to qualify for World Cups and Olympics, then moving out was the only option left. I can't be in India and then have these dreams. So for me, that was my biggest challenge. I don't think it mattered if I was a woman or not. I think it was just a matter of a young athlete moving out, because moving out for studies for Indians is very normal. It's considered absolutely okay to move out for your job or for your education. But moving out for sports and completely actually moving, not just doing small camps, was like very rare. I think it still is rare. I don't know anybody else who's doing it. So that for me was my biggest challenge whatsoever so far. Living alone and, managing everything by myself, trying to find a coach, trying to find the right kind of training facility. I did everything without any help. So that was the biggest challenge.
Wow, this is commendable. And, Ma'am, you also broke your own record in 2014 in 500 meter in ice skating. So, what did you feel like breaking your own record? What was going through your mind?
Honestly, I made the first time I raced was when I broke the records in speed skating, because the previous records was set by some skaters in Ladakh, because Ladakh is the only place where we get ice So ice skaters in India would only come from those regions. So my first race itself, I broke those records, and then ever since then, not just 2014, but even until last year, I've been breaking my own records. I mean, obviously, it feels amazing because breaking records is just a way of saying it. It's actually making progress. So when I'm doing a race better than what I did, I'm breaking my own record, which is breaking the national record. So it feels great because I feel like I'm getting closer to my big goal, which is qualifying for the World Cup. So yeah, it feels really nice to make these records rather than breaking my own record.
Yes, ma'am. That's a very nice way to put it, like making your own records and other than breaking it. Amazing. Ma'am, then how would you encourage the current youth to pick up ice skating or, as a matter of fact, sports as their career choice?
I want to say sports builds so much character. Sports teaches you so much from a very young age. It teaches you multitasking, discipline, hard work, and it teaches you to be independent. All this happens very early in life if you're an athlete. And because when you're an athlete, you still have to go to school, you still have to study, you still have to give exams. So you're still living the life of a normal student, but you're doing much more than an average student because you're also still training so much and you're also competing. You're also traveling for your competitions. So you learn so much and you get that exposure at such a young age that sports really builds you as a person. And even if you win or you lose, you still learn so much. And I want to say that even if I don't make it to the World Cups or even if I don't make it to the Olympics, I do not regret any bit of my journey because it gave me an identity. It got me to where I am right now. I never thought that I would become this first, the fastest female in India. That was not the goal. The goal was just to follow what I really like, and things just fell into place. So I want to say, if you like something and if you do it with your sincere efforts, then you don't need anything else. You don't have to think about the destination. You have to just enjoy your journey. That's all I have to say.
Yes, ma'am. That is indeed very insightful because we see like young players at Olympics are making our nation proud. So it's definitely we are performing more than average people, average students actually. So
Yeah.
now, what would be your message for the parents to encourage their youth children to actually pick up sports?
Parents actually need to learn much more than the children need to learn. Because when you are young, not much is in your hands. Of course, you can work hard and you can prove yourself to your parents and you can, try and convince them. But that's it. Everything else is in the hands of your parents. So I think my message to the parents is that do not force your children to do anything that they don't like to do. Even if you think that your kids are not working hard enough, or if they are lagging in something, don't push them to a point where even if they are winning later on, they are not going to gain anything from it. So I know so many athletes that did very well when they were juniors, and everybody was like, I can bet on this athlete that this athlete is going to grow up to become an amazing Olympian or is going to bring medals for India. But all that prediction was wrong because when you overtrain, when you really push someone who is not loving what he or she is doing, then at the end, they are not going to end up doing it. So fatigue comes very early to these athletes. If you are pushing them hard, they should be loving what they do and let them do it at their own pace. So don't rush into results. The problem is that all the parents think that if we put our child into a sport, that means that our child should win. And if we are paying for something, it means that they should win. And that is not how it works.
Yes.
Everybody is paying. Everybody is going to the class. Everybody cannot win. you have to see what the champions do and how they do it. So they take it easy, they take it one day at a time. First of all, they love what they do. Check whether your child is happy. That is the most important thing. Is your child happy? That's it. And you will know. So I think, of course, you have to see if your kids are lazy, then maybe push them a little bit. But other than that, I think it is very important to be happy, because only that will help in the long run. And we want to produce champions, not just as juniors, but if you want India to win more medals at the Olympics, then you have to consider this as a lifelong journey, because it's not going to happen until the age of 15 or 16. So you can't say, oh, abhi 10th standard aa gaya, stop everything. Abhi no sports. 12th standard aa gaya, stop everything. Then it is very difficult. You have to really take it, you have to plan it well, and you have to take it easy, and you have to be very consistent, work hard sincerely. That is when you will see results.
Yes, ma'am, I agree so much, and I love the point that you mentioned that everyone wants to make a champion, but then I also there is a fact that I would like to tell. It's like parents teach us how to react when we win, but they don't actually teach us how to react when we fail. So that is the point I think that really defines us.
Because
I've had
like
these
I
points.
said, I've lost much more than I have won. Also, my sport unfortunately does not have so many championships where, like constantly, like how tennis has constant championships going on. So you're competing here, then you finish that championship, you go to the other, then you go to the third, fourth. My sport is not that big globally, so we don't host that many competitions. Also because it's a winter sport, and it happens mostly only in the winters. So we don't get that many opportunities to compete. So I think just judging yourself over how much you have won and how much you will win in future does not define you as a person, or does not define you as an athlete in general. You should see what the journey gave you, and then you will know that overall you were a winner all the way.
Yes, ma'am. That is indeed very insightful. Ma'am, what would you like to shed some light on our theme of our Independence Day, that is Rise of India, Sports and Youth?
I think I'm very happy that this topic has been taken up, especially because we just everyone watched the Summer Olympics, and there's a lot of patriotism in the air, and there is a lot of excitement about sports in the air. I just hope and wish that this continues, and that we are not just trying to become a medal factory, but we are also thinking about the mental health of the athletes, not just pushing them to win, but also seeing whether they are enjoying what they do. And I just want to see a more healthy perspective towards sports in India. I think we have the potential. We just need the right direction. And of course, with the right resources, we can definitely get there, which we are already on our way to. So I think this is an amazing topic that you guys have come up with. And I'm very happy to talk about it, especially on Independence Day, because I mean, there cannot be another better time to talk about it. So we want to be amazing athletes, but we at the same time, we also want to think about all these other aspects that I mentioned. Yeah, that's it.
Ma'am, you also mentioned about the mental health. Ma'am, could you please shed some light upon how sports can develop or affect our mental health?
I think mental health revolves around understanding and dealing with the pressure that sports comes with. So when you are training, every single day you have to challenge yourself. So if I'm training 5 to 6 hours a day, then I have to be mentally strong to be able to go through and deal with that kind of training. If you are not strong enough, not just physically but also mentally, then you're not going to be able to go through these hard trainings. At the same time, your mental health is tested when you're performing, when you know that there is, there are so many people watching you, and you feel like, the burden of the entire nation is on your shoulders. And not just, let's not talk about just representing our country, but even if you are, let's say, participating in a local competition, and you still feel the burden of, the society on your shoulders, like, what will my parents think? What will my friends think? And if you're not able to deal with that in a healthy way, then that is when sports does not, is not helping you. There are so many ways to deal with it. The way that I did it was just, I think, facing it. I have just faced my fears all the way. Even if I have felt sick before a competition, or if I have felt like I just can't go and stand on the starting line, or anything like that, I have still, faced it. And I have done terribly in those races. I have lost horribly. But when I look back, I think I was glad that I still, put my skates on that day, and I still went and I finished that race, because today it made me such a strong person. And that experience will stay with me forever. So these are the things that you will learn only from experience. So my mantra is just to face the fear, and that's how you deal with it. But of course, there are so many other things that revolve around mental health, and it's very personal and very individual.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. On behalf of the Event Planning and Execution Committee, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to Ms. Shruti Kotwal, ma'am, for her valuable time and insights on youth and sports. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your experiences with us and inspiring us. We wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored, and I really enjoyed talking to you, talking to everyone. And I hope this brings a change in perspective. And happy Independence Day, everyone. Thank you.
भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है,
सबसे न्यारा गुलिस्ता हमारा है। भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है, सबसे न्यारा गुलिस्ता हमारा है। सदियों से भारत भूमि दुनिया की शान है।
भारत माँ की रक्षा में जीवन कुर्बान है।
भारत हमको जान से प्यारा है, सबसे न्यारा गुलिस्ता हमारा है।
अपना चमन टूटे नहीं, अपना वतन गुमराह ना कर दे कोई, बर्बाद ना कर दे कोई। मंदिर यहाँ, मस्जिद यहाँ, हिंदू यहाँ, मुस्लिम यहाँ, मिलते रहे हम प्यार से चाहो। हिंदुस्तानी नाम हमारा है, सबसे प्यारा देश हमारा है। हिंदुस्तानी नाम हमारा है, सबसे प्यारा देश हमारा है।
जन